mentally ill, but she's a liar. I'm not internationally known, but my
Hello, cats and kittens. Orewa Jose, Yoroshiku. Welcome back to the Crisis Corner, and we're continuing our series of Intrepid promos, introducing each of the main characters to you, giving you a little background on the characters, either how they were created or what their place in the series is. And promo number 4 focuses on Annabella Scuzleoni, pronounced Scuzleoni, just so you know. I made the name up, but that's how it's pronounced. So that's, now you know. Okay, Annabella Scuzleoni. The team, she's the brain. She is the team's brain. She is the, if you want to comp, you would say Joseph Paxson, who I introduced in promo number 3, he would be James Kirk. Annabella would be Scotty. Kirk to Scotty. That's the best comp that I can think of at the time. She gets things going. The genius on the team is a hard trope to, breathe new life into. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I'm just putting some chrome on it, shining it up, and just introducing it to you in this way. What does she mean to the team? What's her importance to the team? Teams need, even not necessarily geniuses, but they need, you got somebody that has either the know-how or the name, In a tech sense, she's the one that has the know-how. She knows how to, for instance, the team, again, as I stated in the earlier promo, they're investigators. If you're going to investigate stuff, if you're going to discover stuff, you need somebody on point to explain those investigations and those discoveries to you, help you with the investigation. She functions as the team's forensic scientist, weapons designer, communication specialist, aerospace engineer, because later on they're going to have a plane, an actual jump ship. I'll get into that later. And chief medical officer. She's the brain. She's within the second wave universe. She is one of the most intelligent human beings to have ever lived. In our universe, technology is not necessary. It's not where it is now. It's basically maybe 50 to 100 years before maybe Star Trek levels. For instance, if you wanted to go to Mars or you wanted to travel within the solar system, you take that trip to Mars, you ain't never coming back. You probably, it would take you 200-300 days to get there, and you ain't never gonna come back because all your oxygen and stuff will run out or whatever, just based on today's science. She's got it down to basically taking a trip from DC to New York. She gets you there, gets you back, or something to that extent. Maybe it'd take longer than that, but it's pretty quick. You get to Pluto maybe in the time it take you to go from DC to Australia. She's developed interplanetary drive that is extremely advanced, and she's right on the edge of developing what she calls the Bella drive, which will basically get you interstellar travel. It's a long story with that, but she took a couple of cracks on it and almost destroyed the planet, but we'll get back to that later. But she's very, very intelligent. All right, now some of the keys to her character. She is indeed a paranormal, and again, in the second wave universe, paranormal means a person with superhuman abilities, whether they were born with them or whether they were bit by a radioactive goat, it doesn't matter. There's no distinction between Captain America and Cyclops. Paranormals are not necessarily feared and hated like in the X-Men type situation. They're marginalized. It's been long enough, to 40 years, they've been marginalized, put to the side. Long as you don't use your powers, we're fine with it. Everybody up until this point that uses their powers in the second wave universe openly, in the United States, you're a criminal. You're a criminal. Paranormals that want to live in society and not be locked up just don't use their powers. They can do anything else. They can You know, hold down a job at the bank, do whatever. Just if you can turn water into wine or whatever, don't do it. You know, otherwise you're gonna have problems. So just don't use your gifts. Go along about your business and be a productive member of society. Okay, so what does Annabella do? She uses her brain to help society. She invents things. She's cured various forms of cancer, cured all sorts of diseases, advanced communication, transportation, blah blah blah. She's done all of these things, and she does it in a tireless pace. Why? Her mother died in childbirth. Okay, she's developed what I call a messiah complex. It's her belief that her mother gave her life to bring her into the world, therefore she owes the world a life which is basically her own. And by that I mean she works tirelessly. She doesn't sleep much at all. She just is always working on something to try to make the world a better place. She is a very, very selfless person, not unlike Paxton. They're very similar in that respect. They are selfless individuals, but Bella more so. I'd say she's probably the only true hero on the team. She's kind of like the classic Disney princess, whereas you have everything except for the one thing that you really, really want. And that thing is she wants to use her abilities, of her paranormal abilities, which you already saw if you've read Intrepid Heroes and Villains, Volume 1, available now. Go to our website. She has abilities, and they're very, very impressive abilities as that, but she can't use them because it's illegal basically in the second wave universe. But she wants to use them. She feels that she has to give all of herself to the betterment of mankind, and she can't do that if she can't use her physical gifts to help stop basically evil paranormals who would use their powers to hurt others. So she's very sensitive on that spot. As you saw in the first volume, she wants to be a hero. She's not satisfied with just being able to use her intellect to save people. Pandora's Cage is the aftermath of Heroes and Villains, the second half of the Intrepid origin story. So we'll see how that plays out. It's a pretty good bet that she's going to be the hero that she wants to be, but we'll get into that later. Skill set. Again, if you've read Heroes and Villains, Annabella works with basically, I wouldn't say dark matter, but it's basically repulsion. She can create gravity fields, invert gravity fields, basically push things around, crush things, blow them away. I guess you would think of Pain's abilities if you read Naruto, the almighty push or whatever you call that thing. She can use her abilities in very, very intricate ways, but this basically comes down to push and pull. All right, we'll leave that there. Let me see. Create and manipulate gravitational fields. Personality-wise, again, Bella is a dyed-in-the-wool hero. The dynamic between Bella and Paxton is very important because you're dealing with Paxton. You're dealing with a person who has seen everything that he believes in. Everything that he has believed in since he was a child was crushed, was proved to be false. Justice, law, order, in his mind, those things have been distorted, and he does not have the purity that he once had up until the year before the start of this series. Anna does. So when he looks at her, he sees what he used to be, and he wants to get back to that place, but he's pretty sure he's pretty sure he can't get there because it just doesn't have it in him. But he needs to see that level of commitment and purity in somebody to make him at least believe that it can still be there. It's, she is. It's almost. It's not entirely a yin and yang type thing where he's ruthless and cold and she's honest and good. He's in the gray area right now, and he doesn't want to be there, but that's just where he is. But when he looks over and sees that just black and white world, it's almost a nostalgia. But he needs a moral compass to a certain extent. In Guardian, he was basically trained to be rather harsh. To use a One Piece, if you watch One Piece, which most of you should, the Marines, they're about justice, right? You have some people who are down for absolute justice, which means if you drop a candy wrapper, you're going to jail. If you do this and that, you're just going to jail. It's either you're going to jail or you're going to the morgue or whatever, you know. But then you have some people who are like Commodore Smoker. He's down for justice, but he also is lenient enough to know that not everybody needs to be fitted for a toe tag. Okay? Paxton's, if I had to say anything, Paxton was probably more like Commodore Smoker, or I think he's Vice Admiral Smoker, and Annabella would be his Tashigi, which would be his sidekick that basically pushes him towards a more balanced view of justice. That's my basic comp. So she's very important to him and to him and to the crew in that sense. Let me see. She has a very healthy intellectual arrogance, which is to say, she believes that she can do anything. No matter what it is, she can. If she need to, whatever she needs to come up with to help the crew, she believes she can do it. That comes in handy because Paxton will often put her in a position where she has to do the impossible to save the day. For instance, he'll say, well, I've got a plan where we can defeat enemy X, but we have to get to the Andromeda Galaxy in 48 hours. You take care of that. The rest of us will get down on this part of the plan, but your part is to get us to so-and-so in X amount of time. She said, well, that's impossible. He said, well, I don't care. That's your job, you know. And then we'll go on and get with the rest of the plan. So she gets put in those Scotty type situations. You got to do such and such in 24 hours or we're all going to die. She's like, Captain, I can't do it, Captain. He's like, I don't care, man. I said, we all going to die. So you get on that. So and it makes for good comical situations, but it also proves that she is indeed one of the smartest people walking. In terms of eccentricities, she's obsessed with finding, obsessed with finding unique things and wants to take anything alive or dead that she considers to be unique into her lab to be examined. She's going to constantly run across things and people that are unique or can't be explained, and she's going to want to either dissect them or take them to the lab and study them. Don't matter if it's people or if it's things or whatever. So she's got this mad scientist type deal going with her. What else? She's secretly developing the most advanced AI the world has ever seen, which is basically she's playing around with Skynet and nobody knows about it. And that's going to lead to another comical situation later on down the line. She's also in a team full of fighters. She is constantly tasked to do tech work. But, as I said before, she is obsessed with being a fighter. Her first reaction to any situation is, yeah, let's get him. And Paxton tells her, oh, no, you go and do such and such. We'll take care of that. And it's a source of frustration to her until she actually gets to fight. Well, she does get to fight. But her primary task on the team is to be what she's been trying to escape her whole life, which is basically a nerd. She's a nerd that wants to be a fighter, and she keeps getting pushed back into the nerd circle, so that's a problem for her. What else we have here? Another one of her eccentricities, you'll notice that Annabella Scuzleoni is indeed a first-generation Sicilian American, but if you look at her visually, she has dreadlocks. Why? I'll tell you. No, I won't. I won't tell you. You'll find out as the series goes on. But it was an accident. All mad scientists experiment on themselves, and she did. Why? You'll find out as the series goes along. So, again, our second member of our crew, Annabella Scuzleoni, or as she's known commonly, Bella. She's a pop icon, so she gets the one-name moniker. You know, Sting, Bono, Cher, whatever. Bella, that's her name. The second member that we will be introduced to next up would be one of my absolute favorite characters, Keith Dawson, the Rumbler, the Teen Beatdown artist. Hey, you're gonna like him. He's one of my favorite people to write. We'll get into him in a couple of days. Hopefully, I'm late on this, so hopefully I'll get him out ASAP. That's it. I'll talk to you later. Y'all stay loose. I'm out.